Imagine a world where every dream you had became real the moment you woke up. Not just the good ones, not just the harmless ones, but every nightmare, every absurd fantasy, every chaotic fragment of your subconscious. You go to sleep, and when your alarm rings, reality is no longer the one you left behind. It's rewritten by your own mind. This is not magic. This is science-driven logic taken to its extreme. If dreams could directly alter reality, the world would collapse within days. And yet, we need to understand what that collapse would look like. Right now, in our real world, dreams are nothing more than brain activity, randomized neural firing, memory consolidation, subconscious processing. But let's imagine a sudden shift in biology. Overnight, humanity evolves the ability for dreams to alter reality itself. Every detail your subconscious produces, whether you're dreaming of flying, running from monsters, or reliving trauma, becomes real once you wake up. This is the precise moment civilization ends. Why? Because human beings do not control their dreams. In fact, we barely remember them. Studies show that around 95% of dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking. Now picture this. People waking up in cities filled with creatures that never existed, landscapes torn apart by subconscious chaos, and physical laws rewritten by billions of inconsistent dream worlds colliding at once. The first and fastest collapse would happen in governance, the army, and the police. Imagine the president of a nuclear state dreaming of an invasion, and waking up to find an actual enemy army materialized on the border. Or worse, a general dreaming of pushing the red button, and suddenly, nuclear launch is actually happening. The police? Completely useless. How do you enforce law when the laws of physics themselves are rewritten every morning by random dreams? One officer dreams of immortality, another dreams of weapons that never run out of ammo, and suddenly the balance of power is gone. Criminals could simply dream themselves unstoppable. Anarchy wouldn't take decades, it would take hours. The military, which thrives on predictability, hierarchy, and control, would implode instantly. Dreams are pure chaos. A soldier dreaming of wings could actually wake up flying. Another soldier might dream that bullets no longer exist. The battlefield becomes meaningless, and structured warfare dissolves into surreal mayhem. Religion would explode into absolute dominance. Think about it, if dreams control reality, then prophecy becomes real. Faith no longer depends on belief but on the subconscious power of the dreamer. Someone dreaming of divine punishment could literally unleash plagues upon the world. Someone dreaming of angels could summon them into being. The Catholic Church, Islam, Hinduism, and countless sects would fracture into chaos. Every believer would claim their dream proves their God is the true one, because physical reality would show their visions manifested. Religious wars wouldn't just be ideological, they would be nightmare-driven, where gods and demons from competing faiths physically fight in the streets. And the scariest part? Dreams are shaped by fear, guilt, and suppressed desire. Meaning religious followers would unleash the darkest versions of their faiths, not peace, not salvation, but wrath, damnation, and destruction. Now let's zoom into something more personal. Your own home. You go to sleep anxious, dreaming your house burns down. You wake up, and it's ash. You dream of your ex showing up at your door, screaming at you, and they're actually there, banging on the door, even if they live thousands of miles away. Your children dream of monsters. They're in the living room. You dream of infinite money. Suddenly your house is buried in cash, but that cash is worthless because everyone else dreamed the same thing. Inflation doesn't just skyrocket, the economy disintegrates. Workplaces disappear overnight. Why show up to your job when your coworker can simply dream of you being fired? Or dream of your boss disappearing? Corporations crumble, supply chains vanish, and society devolves into individual survival. This is only the beginning. We've just scratched the surface of what happens when dreams dictate reality: total collapse of government, military, religion, and daily life. In the next part, we'll go even deeper, into science, medicine, and the human psyche itself. If you want to see how this nightmare unfolds, make sure you subscribe right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next stage of this thought experiment. Science depends on stability, laws of physics, repeatable experiments, measurable outcomes. But in a world where dreams dictate reality, science doesn't just fail, it becomes impossible. Einstein's theory of relativity? Worthless, if a single dream rewrites the speed of light. Quantum mechanics? Irrelevant, because particles no longer follow probabilities, they follow the chaos of billions of dreamers. Every morning, scientists would wake up to a different universe. One day gravity works, the next day it doesn't. Imagine a surgeon preparing for heart surgery, only to wake up and discover that blood no longer circulates, because last night, someone dreamed of humans being powered by sunlight. Hospitals collapse immediately. Doctors, nurses, and patients would be trapped in biological absurdity, patients waking up cured, others waking up with new diseases that never existed. Even worse, some people might dream of immortality. Immortal beings walking the streets, unable to die, unable to age, yet consuming endless resources. Others might dream of entire cities vanishing, and they would vanish. Science thrives on consistency. Without it, we're left with superstition and chaos. The Enlightenment ends overnight, and humanity is thrown back into the Dark Ages. Let's face it, the economy is a fragile system even under normal conditions. Inflation, recessions, debt crises. But in a dream-controlled world, the concept of economy is a joke. Money would cease to exist within hours. If anyone can dream of infinite gold, diamonds, or dollars, then currency has no value. Entire banking systems collapse instantly. The Federal Reserve, Wall Street, the IMF, gone, because wealth no longer depends on work or trade, but on unconscious imagination. But here's the real kicker, not everyone dreams of wealth. Many dream of scarcity, loss, or fear. Imagine one billionaire dreaming that money burns, and waking up to find the entire global currency system in flames. Imagine workers dreaming their company disappears, and it literally does. Trade collapses. Agriculture collapses. Global shipping collapses. Why import wheat from another country if you can dream of food and wake up with it in your kitchen? And yet, food dreamed into existence might not be safe, it could rot instantly, mutate, or simply vanish in hours. Starvation wouldn't disappear, it would spread faster, because human biology depends on stable nutrition, not unstable dream creations. The black market becomes the only economy left, where people trade trust, safety, or protection. The strongest dreamers, those who can control lucid dreaming, become the new billionaires, not with money, but with power to reshape reality. Here's where it gets terrifying. Most people cannot control their dreams. But a small minority can, lucid dreamers. And these lucid dreamers would instantly become the most powerful beings on the planet. Forget presidents, forget kings. The new rulers are teenagers who spent years practicing lucid dreaming on Reddit forums, monks who mastered dream meditation, and random insomniacs who accidentally gained control over their subconscious. Imagine one lucid dreamer deciding that only their rules matter. Overnight, they dream of armies loyal to them, cities rebuilt in their image, entire populations kneeling before them. And because their control is consistent, their new laws of physics stick, overpowering weaker dreamers. This isn't democracy. This isn't monarchy. This is dream dictatorship, a system where the unconscious mind of a few dominates the entire waking world. And unlike traditional dictators, dream tyrants don't need propaganda, police, or weapons. They can erase dissenters by simply dreaming they never existed. They can reshape history by dreaming of new pasts. They can even grant or revoke immortality, deciding who lives and who dies with nothing more than their sleep. At this point, we face the most radical consequence of all, the death of free will. If dreams shape reality, then reality is no longer something we choose, it's something imposed by our subconscious. You're not in control of your life. Your hidden fears, your repressed memories, your random thoughts, they rule you. A person who fears betrayal might wake up to find all their friends gone. Someone afraid of death might wake up immortal, but trapped in endless loneliness. The collective unconscious of humanity would merge into a nightmare, where fear, not reason, is the ultimate architect of existence. In other words, humans stop being creators of their own destiny. We become prisoners of our own sleep. So far, we've seen governments collapse, science disintegrate, economies vanish, and the rise of dream tyrants. But this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll take it further, into war, global survival, and what happens when humanity finally realizes it cannot live like this. Stay tuned, because it only gets darker from here. When governments fall and dream tyrants rise, war is inevitable. But this war is unlike anything in human history. Forget tanks, nukes, and aircraft carriers. Those are obsolete. In the age of dream-driven reality, warfare is shaped by the subconscious. One tyrant dreams of an army of giants, and suddenly skyscraper-sized soldiers march through cities. Another dreams of biological horrors, creatures with bulletproof skin, capable of regenerating instantly. Yet another dreams of plagues that spread faster than thought, wiping out entire nations before breakfast. This is not war. This is genocide on autopilot. The human brain naturally leans toward fear, and fear produces nightmares. Which means the battlefield is dominated not by strategy, but by terror. And because billions of humans dream every night, each morning unleashes fresh chaos. Armies don't just clash, they mutate into unpredictable nightmares, reshaping themselves daily. Ordinary people. They're reduced to prey. Civilization collapses into survival tribes, where safety depends on whose dream dominates the local reality. Small groups of lucid dreamers are worshipped like gods, because they can stabilize their followers' environment. Communities would form rituals around sleep, trying to guide their dreams in a collective way. Imagine entire villages singing lullabies not for comfort, but for survival, hoping everyone dreams the same stable dream, of peace, food, shelter. If even one person slips into a nightmare, the whole group suffers. Sleep becomes both sacred and dangerous. Too much of it, and your subconscious creates new disasters. Too little of it, and you collapse from exhaustion, vulnerable to others' dream realities. The human body was never designed for this constant fight between waking and dreaming. Millions would die from sheer sleep deprivation, terrified of what their own minds could unleash. Earlier, religion fractured. Now, it becomes weaponized. Entire sects rise around controlling dreams. Priests, imams, monks, anyone claiming to channel divine dreams, gain absolute power over followers desperate for stability. Wars of faith transform into wars of nightmares. A Christian extremist dreams of hellfire swallowing unbelievers, and whole cities vanish into flame. A Hindu devotee dreams of deities walking the earth, and suddenly, gods roam the battlefield. An atheist dreams that religion never existed, and in their territory, all faith vanishes, holy texts erased, churches and temples reduced to rubble. This isn't belief anymore. It's dream-based annihilation. The most viral, most dangerous idea spreads. If your dream becomes reality, then eliminating rival dreamers isn't just strategy, it's survival. Ironically, the only thing that prevents total extinction is fear. Dream tyrants realize that if they unleash too much destruction, rival tyrants can simply dream them out of existence. A balance of terror emerges, like the nuclear stalemate of the Cold War, but far more unstable. Unlike nukes, which require codes and procedures, dreams are instant. No one can predict who will sleep, what they'll dream, or how far their influence will spread. Every night becomes a global gamble, where one unconscious mind can reset the world. This unstable peace is no peace at all. Humanity lives in daily paranoia. Everyone watches everyone else, terrified of the next sleeper who could rewrite reality. At this point, time itself loses meaning. If someone dreams of the past being different, the past changes. History books rewrite themselves. Wars vanish from memory. Entire nations disappear from the timeline. Humanity loses its anchor in reality, because truth is no longer fixed. Think about that. Your family, your culture, your entire identity could vanish because one dreamer decided history should unfold differently. You could wake up in a world where you never existed. And no one would even remember you were gone. This is the ultimate destruction, not of nations, not of economies, but of reality itself. So far, we've seen the war of dreams, survival tribes, religious annihilation, and the collapse of history itself. And it only gets worse. In the next part, we'll look at the psychological breaking point of humanity, and whether any form of stability is even possible. Humanity has always relied on one fragile foundation, the distinction between dream and reality. But in this nightmare scenario, that line is erased. Psychologists know that even in today's world, people struggle with sleep disorders, night terrors, PTSD flashbacks, and hallucinations. Now imagine those conditions amplified, because every intrusive thought becomes real. Paranoia becomes universal. Nobody trusts themselves, let alone others. If you're angry at someone, you know that your subconscious might manifest their death while you sleep. If your partner cheats on you in a dream, you might wake up to find it actually happened. Suspicion becomes lethal, relationships implode, and families tear apart. Mental illness explodes. Schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety are no longer private battles, they are world-destroying weapons. A single psychotic episode could reshape entire cities. The human mind, fragile as it is, cannot bear the weight of reality itself. At this point, humans would try anything to survive. Some would embrace extreme sleep control, using drugs, machines, or brutal methods to suppress REM sleep. Dreamless sleep becomes the most valuable commodity on Earth. Corporations, or what's left of them, would sell dream blockers, pills or devices that stop you from dreaming. But even this solution creates chaos. If only the wealthy can afford dream suppression, then power shifts to them. The poor, still plagued by chaotic dreams, remain a threat, and a target. The new inequality isn't money, it's mental stability. Those who can afford dreamless sleep control reality. Those who can't are hunted, feared, or exterminated. Others turn to lucid dreaming as a survival tool. Schools, instead of teaching math or science, focus entirely on dream control. Children are drilled in techniques of lucid awareness, meditation, and subconscious discipline. Failure isn't just a bad grade, it's a death sentence for the community. Technology would adapt, or rather, mutate. Scientists, desperate to regain control, would build machines that anchor reality. Think of it as a reality server, a device broadcasting a stable framework of physics, laws, and consistency. Step outside its range, and you fall back into dream chaos. But this technology is no savior. It requires immense energy, impossible to scale globally, and quickly becomes a weapon. Imagine fortified cities where elites live in stable zones, while the rest of humanity rots in unstable dreamlands, fighting off nightmare creatures. Black markets emerge around dream hackers, engineers who can invade your dreams, manipulate them, and weaponize your subconscious against you. Warfare evolves again, this time into infiltration not of borders, but of sleep itself. Your bed is no longer safe, your mind is the battlefield. When reality itself shifts daily, identity becomes meaningless. If you can dream yourself into a new body, a new gender, a new face, what does it mean to be you? If your neighbor can dream away your existence, who decides whether you're real? Philosophy becomes irrelevant. Ethics vanish. Human identity fragments into chaos. And here's the cruel truth, the only people who survive are those who let go of identity entirely. The ones who adapt are the ones who stop caring whether they are real or not. Humanity fractures into two species. The anchors, lucid dreamers and tech-backed elites who stabilize themselves and enslave others. The shattered, ordinary people who drift in and out of existence, broken by their own minds. At this stage, society barely exists. Cities are ruins. Nations are myths. Instead, scattered enclaves cling to fragile order, ruled by lucid overlords or fortified by dream-blocking technology. Trade happens in memories, in promises, in stolen fragments of stability. And yet, one pattern emerges: people begin to ritualize their sleep. Sleep becomes religion. Communities schedule synchronized dreaming, chanting, and meditation before bed, hoping collective unity creates stable shared realities. Whether it works or not doesn't matter, belief is the only thing keeping them from complete collapse. We've reached the point where humanity is psychologically shattered, technology is weaponized against its own creators, and identity itself has collapsed. But there's still one question left: is there any way out? At this point, humanity faces one final question: can we ever regain control of reality? Scientists, philosophers, and religious leaders all scramble for solutions. Some claim that collective dreaming can restore order, that if all humans dream the same dream, the world will stabilize. Others argue the opposite, that only by erasing dreams entirely can reality survive. Massive experiments begin. Entire populations are put under synchronized sleep cycles, forced into dreaming the same imagery. Sometimes it works, creating temporary stability, a shared city, a shared history, a shared set of laws. But it never lasts. One stray nightmare, one subconscious rebel, and the entire illusion collapses. Order is fleeting, chaos inevitable. Dream blockers spread further, but they come with a brutal cost. Without REM sleep, the brain begins to break down. Hallucinations, memory loss, cognitive decay. People become shells of themselves, barely human, living corpses walking through broken cities. Survival without dreams means living without consciousness. In the end, the biggest threat isn't war, or famine, or even the dream tyrants. The biggest threat is entropy of the mind. The human brain was not built to carry the weight of reality. Billions simply give up. Sleep becomes suicide. Waking becomes torture. Civilization fragments into microscopic tribes, each clinging to its own warped version of reality. There is no longer a single Earth, but billions of overlapping dream worlds. Sometimes they collide, sometimes they cancel each other out. Humanity as a unified species ceases to exist. The dream tyrants fight each other endlessly, rewriting existence again and again until even they lose track of what's real. Some erase themselves by accident. Others become eternal, trapped in bodies that cannot die, wandering through shifting worlds where nothing is consistent. Immortality turns into the cruelest punishment. And here lies the brutal irony: in a world where dreams control reality, reality ceases to matter. Existence itself loses meaning. If everything can change overnight, then nothing has value. No achievement, no relationship, no belief can survive the chaos of billions of subconscious minds rewriting it. Humanity disappears not with an explosion, but with confusion. Not destroyed by external forces, but by the inner storm of the mind itself. The last chapter of human history is not written in books, but in fragmented dreams that no one can remember for more than a moment. If there is a way out, it is terrifying: the deliberate extinction of dreaming. Humanity would have to genetically alter itself, rewrite its own biology, and kill the very process that makes us creative, emotional, and human. Dreams are where art is born, where love is processed, where trauma is healed. Without dreams, we might survive, but at the cost of everything that makes life worth living. So the question isn't just, what if dreams controlled reality? The real question is, would survival even be desirable in such a world? Or is humanity's destruction the only logical outcome? And that's where this thought experiment ends, with the collapse of governments, the rise of tyrants, the death of science, the destruction of identity, and ultimately the disintegration of humanity itself. Dreams are beautiful only because they aren't real. The moment they become reality, life becomes unlivable. Now, I want to hear from you. If dreams controlled our waking world, what do you think humanity's fate would be? Would we adapt, or would we vanish into our own subconscious chaos? Backhand index pointing right. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and suggest the next, what if, topic you'd like me to tear apart in the next video.